Nice. These are going to be some clinky, ice cubey drinks on the... Whatever.
They are. We've already got one guy telling us how heavily we're breathing.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Who is that guy? Who invited him?
These are really cubey. I made them extra cubey.
Super cubes. Just clink, 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 clink.
Welcome to the No Budget Filmmaking Podcast, presented by Cinema Summit, a podcast about the art of making films, no matter how small the budget. And now, here are your hosts, Alex Dark and Trevor L. Nelson.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. This is episode 10 of the No Budget Filmmaking Podcast. I'm Alex Dark.
And I am Trevor L. Nelson. And today we are going to be talking about shooting with a mobile phone. But first, Alex, what are we drinking?
We're drinking vodka sodas.
Ooh,
straight
vodka
from our
sodas.
new alcohol distributor machine.
Ooh, this is bad
whatever
news.
They're called.
Yeah.
Alcohol chiller.
Alcohol chiller, shot chiller, whatever
Shot
you want to
chiller.
call it. Just it means liver failure. That's what they call it.
Yeah, we have 1941 vodka, which to me looked almost identical to Tito's. I thought it was like a different version of Tito's.
Yeah, it might be. If someone from Tito's is listening to this, we're still looking for that endorsement. You can now just stock our liquor chiller, and that's all you need. And we'll shout you out every show. Even though we tend to just shout them out every show, even without the endorsement.
Yep,
We just
exactly.
like booze. So whoever wants to give us free booze, we'll take pictures of it. We'll drink it. We'll shout you out.
We'll gaff tape over our Patron XO Cafe and Sharpie in whatever brand of alcohol is given to us.
Oh, we have no shame. We'll do that. We'll do a lot for free.
Yeah, we will.
Oh man. So so drinking a little vodka sodies. I like it. I like it. So what's new? Not much. It's kind of like one of those things where you have a bunch of projects that are just have a long grind to them, and you're just slowly working on them, and there's no real new updates. I mean, still working on our scripts, still working on Cinema Summit.
We spent the past 10 minutes scratching the old noodles together and trying to come up with some new things.
And those noodles just failed to produce anything, which is why we're doing this podcast for free and we have no sponsors, because these noodles don't really work very well.
One kind of new thing is that we're almost to 1,000 downloads on the podcast.
Now, for the people listening, they'll probably be like, that's not big of a deal. But hey, screw you. It's a big deal to us.
It's a super huge deal.
Big deal, because that's 1,000 people, or actually probably 50 people that listen to
Yes.
that really think we're doing something. Or there's just one new person who listens to one episode, leaves it alone, and every week we have another new person who comes in and is like, these guys suck, they're idiots.
Yeah.
They just drink and talk about each other and make fun of each other.
Or it's just my mom showing everyone that she knows the podcast and playing it over and over again 1,000 times.
Man, your mom knows 999 people?
Hey.
Man. Woo!
Digital
Someone's
age, man.
popular.
Digital age.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for your support. I'm gonna say 100 of you, maybe 100, because this is gonna be our 10th episode. So we're at maybe averaging 100 people
100-ish.
listen to each episode. So hey, thank you.
Yeah, thanks all of you.
Yeah, so that's kind of new, and then also we're still working on the Cinema Summit site, trying to make it better and newer and faster for all of you who go check out that site.
Yep, we're doing all sorts of tweaks. We just added a video page that has all of our YouTube videos on there.
Yep, we're gonna see some more videos from John M. Levine, I should say, not John Levine, the director of Wackness and 50/50, but our friend Jonathan M. Levine, who is talking about his feature debut and all that stuff that came with that, and being a writer director. So yeah, that'll be easier to find if you don't go to our YouTube page.
And I think that's about it. What else is new, Trevor, with you? Anything?
Nothing. I'm going to go buy a new car this weekend, I think. That's about it.
Yeah, you've been saying that for the past 3 months.
I know. When you buy used, though, it's tough. If I had all the money in the world to go buy new, it'd be easy. I'd just walk in, say, this is what I want, and walk out. But when you buy
You'd
used...
walk in and throw cash down on Elon's desk.
Yeah, I'd be like, Elon, here's $300. I'd like a Tesla, please. Tesla 3 cents for $300, right?
Hey, yo.
Give it to me. I have no place to charge it, but I want it.
You just stick it. You put it in the alley behind you and just run an extension cord down.
Just bring a gas generator down to power. But I'm still saving the environment.
So inefficient.
But it's what I need to do to have the Model 3. That's fine. So anything new with you, Alex? Gearing up for the wedding in a little bit here.
Gearing up for the wedding. That's pretty much it. Doing a lot of wedding stuff.
I know.
It's coming up in like 18 days.
I know. I haven't seen you very much because it's wedding. I just don't even want to bug you. It's wedding all day, all night.
It's just all that stuff. I got to do a slideshow now.
Why do you have to do a slideshow?
Well, it's for the rehearsal dinner. So I was like trying to figure out all the. So it's funny because I have made plenty of slideshows for people. You know? Or just like videos that are essentially slideshows with like animated text and like, you know, different animations for the images and stuff like that. I do that all the time. But of course, when it comes to my own, I'm just like searching the internet for the easiest, fastest thing possible to get it done, where I can just like drag in all my photos and it will just automatically space them out, fade them in, animate them. I don't want to do all that.
Oh,
so
I'm not big on slideshows. I did one for my grandma's 90th where the wonderful, Engelbert Humperdinck wished her happy birthday.
Yes.
And then I did one for my engagement, and that's about it, and I never want to do them again. It is mind-numbingly, like, monotonous, and...
Yeah.
Wait, so is this about your and Bree's relationship that you're putting together at the rehearsal dinner?
It's for the rehearsal dinner. It's like pictures of us when we were kids, and then, like, through high school, we were skipping junior high.
Oh, those are the good years.
Those are the really... awkward, ugly years.
That's when you went from 4'3" to 6'2" in like 2 months.
Mm-hmm. But I still had a size 4 shoe. So it was really weird. I was like, they called
really
me
top heavy.
They called me Mr. Peg Legs.
Really top heavy. Kept falling.
But yeah, so we're gonna do that, and then
and
then transition into us when we're together.
Oh,
with music.
Oh,
by
so beautiful.
Celine Dion.
No, tell me it's not Celine Dion.
I don't know yet.
By Moby.
Yeah.
Oh man, I knew it. Okay, well, yeah.
So,
I mean,
I found one, Animoto. I found it before, and I think it'll be probably the easiest thing to do.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm smacking my lips a lot. I apologize. I don't know why people. Not that kind of smacking my lips, and because we got a comment from an unnamed person, my cousin who's an asshole, who said that we're breathing a lot and breathing heavy in our podcast, which I don't think the only criticism I've gotten so far about my presentation is Alex has said he can easily pick out when I'm burping from drinking beer or vodka sodas. It's the bubbles, guys.
That's distracting enough. I feel like Josh is just projecting his own heavy breathing while listening to us in his dark closet.
So he thinks he hears heavy breathing because it's just him listening going...
Yeah, Josh, you weirdo.
Yeah. Good thing you're not going to listen to another episode so we can say all the shit we want about you right now. Suck it, Trebek. So let's, I guess, we stretched that new out pretty far talking about
absolutely
weddings.
Weddings. We didn't talk about a darn thing.
No, that's true. But, our lives are super exciting. Trust us, guys. We got a lot, so much stuff. But that being said, let's move on to the topic at hand. And that is all the rage these days. Everyone shooting on or wanting to shoot on their iPhones or their Galaxies or just any phone.
Yeah, any phone.
Cameras are coming out
the
on
old mobile phones.
Yeah, cameras are coming out that are like great low light capabilities, great resolution, and people are finding a way to shoot on them, to shoot whole feature films or shorts using nothing but their phone because they already paid $800 for that. So why pay $800 more for a little pocket cam that can be just as good as the phone?
Yeah. Now, have you ever shot anything on your phone?
Other than funny videos of my dog and
they're not that funny.
My wife snoring and me
those
using
ones
it.
are really funny.
Yeah, those ones are really funny. No, I really haven't. I haven't shot anything. No, I don't think I've shot anything like cinematic on my phone. How about you?
I've never shot anything cinematic, but I've been asked to shoot on my phone. A couple times at Aura when we had that show Newsbreaker where they wanted to do like man on the street type things.
And they wanted you to use your phone?
They insisted on it, in fact.
Wow.
I said, well, we have these other cameras. We can just bring them. And he said, nope, just want to use the phone. So I found that to be very interesting.
And
then
you didn't do it?
I did do it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just recently I shot a thing for Jewel.
Okay. So yeah, I was going to mention that, I believe you used your phone for that.
I used my phone just as a third camera because I had the 1DC as kind of like a main camera, and then I had this Canon Vixia Mini X thing that's like just a little vloggy type camera.
Yeah, like one of the original vloggies.
And I had that just set up in a random place, and then I was walking around with with my phone every once in a while, just like capturing random things.
Now, do you have the Samsung Note 8, right?
What is it? The Note 5? It's the newest one, but it's like not in the same numbering system.
Because I thought the Note coming out is the 9. I thought they were going to start adding them to like the Note and the.
Oh, did
Galaxy.
they start like matching them?
I don't know.
Maybe they did.
But you have is that a 4K camera?
It is.
Okay. And did you shoot 4K on it, or did you just shoot 1080p?
I shot 4K as far as I know, but the weird thing was I made the decision in the moment to actually shoot on my phone because I wasn't planning on it really, and I couldn't figure out how to set it to 24p without using an external app, which I couldn't really download at the time.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's weird.
It doesn't give you frame rate, so you have
Interesting.
to. I assume I didn't even check, but I'm assuming it shot in 30.
Oh man, now we're gonna have to convert that if we want to match it up.
Yep.
And Premiere does a pretty good job of handling different frame rates, but still, you're gonna that sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, jingle jingles of the ice cubes. This is going to be really annoying this episode, guys. Sorry, we'll drink really fast. Yeah, I mean, that's super annoying. I think one thing that has kind of held me back from shooting on my phone, one is just, we have a lot of cameras at our disposal, and I always like using a camera for its intended purposes. But also, I think, like, aside from getting other apps, I feel that I don't have much control over it. And I'm kind of one of the guys that like doesn't like to load too many apps on his phone because I feel it slows his phone down for being a phone. Sure. And so I feel that without getting a bunch of apps, you kind of are limited in what you can do manually on an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, and I think, we can talk about like the cinematic stuff in a little bit, but I do think there are some applications where maybe a phone would be okay, like, I don't know, Facebook Lives or something, like if you're shooting that. Mm-hmm. Because I think you can just trigger it from your Facebook app and just like automatically do it. You don't have to set anything special up and like stream it through your computer or anything. Yeah. Which is nice. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think
we even, speaking on that, we did an episode of CommU. Mm-hmm. Remember the Facebook Live just crashed on the computer, and we were going live, and we had someone
just ran out with their phone
and streamed it live on Facebook Live. Now it wasn't ideal because we were doing live switching and all that, and it looked really good, and we had it set up to be doing that. But that being said,
it worked.
In a pinch, it worked, and it looked fine. It was an iPhone X, and so it was 4K, and it was actually Facebook Live only streamed 720. Yeah, but it worked. It was fine.
Yeah. And I think also maybe just vlogging or that type of thing where, you don't need super cinematic anything. So it's just about kind of capturing the image of yourself talking. Mm-hmm. I don't think a phone would be a bad option for that.
Yeah. And so when you just mentioned, non-cinematic, well, let's talk about the cinematic uses of it, because there's been some big-time movies that have come out that have used the iPhone.
That's right.
Tangerine, which was a kind of indie hit. I think it was
Sundance, right?
Yeah, I think it was at Sundance, and I think it was produced by the Duplass brothers.
Was it?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm gonna to the cloud.
The director went on to do the Florida project, right?
Yes, Sean Baker. So yeah, I mean, that was a kind of a my style is built. The style of this movie is built for an iPhone,
right?
So I'm gonna not hide the fact that I'm filming it on an iPhone. Now, when I didn't see Unsane, Steven Soderbergh, like his foray into making movies with the iPhone, that led him to say he's not going to shoot on anything but an iPhone from now on.
Yeah, I saw it.
You weren't a big fan of it, but was it because of how it looked on the iPhone, or just his choices?
I have to assume it was both. Mm-hmm. His choices and the iPhone. To me, it was strange to see that he made some choices that he did when I feel like the technology of the phone and like everything that he was doing could have been different and better. So I don't know. It was a number of things that had to do with just the overall style of the movie and his directing. Yeah. And the whole iPhone thing.
And so you feel that the iPhone. Now, here's the question, though. Do you feel that it was the limitations of the iPhone that led to it, or just him, the choices he made? Do you feel like
it's hard for me to say because
you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what choices he made and what were like just natural products from the iPhone and stuff like that. But I did find it distracting for at least the first third of the movie.
Okay.
There was a period of time in the middle somewhere where I let it go.
Yeah.
And I was able to kind of like immerse myself. But
How big of you?
But then like the last third again, I was out of it, and I was like, oh man, this is just crazy.
But you had mentioned to me that the framing was a little weird, the editing was a little weird, but that doesn't seem to me to be an issue with the iPhone. It just seems to be an issue with his choices as a director and a cinematographer.
Right, and I wondered if it had to do with, it was partially like due to shooting with the iPhone because maybe they didn't plan enough time, or maybe they just thought, okay, we're just going to run in and shoot this thing in like 20 minutes. I don't know what the process was behind it, but yeah, they had shot reverse shots that didn't match, eye lines didn't match, things that aren't really camera specific that I found to be strange, and what I would say is probably from a technical standpoint wrong.
Okay. I mean, so it's hard to say if that's because of the iPhone, because his praise of it makes you, it's weird because his praise of the iPhone and then your kind of, not disapproval, but just like disappointment in some of his choices make you wonder, well, why? Like, it sounds like he was happy with the iPhone and then he just made decisions that you didn't like.
My thing is, I feel like he comes from obviously like a time in film when it was huge.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everything's huge. The cameras are giant. You need 10Ks, you need like huge HMIs, you need 5 trucks, you need all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sure it was extremely freeing for him to be able to just shoot on an iPhone with like a guy holding a balance board or something, right? But for the rest of us who have been doing that for the whole time that we've been, making movies and stuff, it's not that crazy. So to me, it's like, I understand why he was kind of enamored with it and the whole process.
Yeah.
But I don't think the iPhone and using the iPhone necessarily added anything to the movie. I think it would have been better had he shot on something else that would have potentially been, just as easy to shoot on, if he wanted it to be. But I don't know. I don't think it necessarily was like the best choice myself.
Yeah, I guess we'd have to talk to Soderbergh himself if he'd like to come on this podcast and defend himself. By all means, please come. But it's like, it's one of those things where, okay, if he had done, used the red, which is, small-ish, or even an A7S or a GH5S or something like that, would he have still made those decisions? For me, it's hard to say, like, that's just because of the iPhone.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm completely bored with shooting on the iPhone, especially if you have other options with cameras, and because like professional grade-ish cameras are getting cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah, and the thing to remember about, in my opinion, again, all this is just my opinion.
Yeah, I know our opinion is worth nothing, but we're just going to give it to you anyway.
The thing about the iPhone to remember is that it's not even close to the quality of even just like a 5D Mark II.
Yeah.
Even though the resolution is high, but the sensor size and the just like little puny lens on it, it's just not
color.
Even like if you on like our 1DC, you can shoot 4K and you can punch in and see like some pretty good detail, sharpness and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like zooming into the 4K on a phone,
it's a digital
it
zoom.
Loses all like I don't know, crispness and sharpness and everything. It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same 4K that you get from like a 1DC or a A7S or anything like that. And I mean, I could see like an iPhone being very useful for like a found footage.
Sure.
Sure. Or even a horror.
So that's the thing about Unsane in particular. I can't really say about Tangerine because I didn't see that one.
Yeah, me either.
But for Unsane, I would say, like stylistically, I understand what he was going for with the iPhone, and it had kind of this like raw, found footagey vibe to it at some point.
Smuggled into a mental asylum where it shouldn't be.
Yeah,
yeah.
So I get that, but I almost feel like it would have been better suited for maybe just like segments or like certain bits of the film. And not the entire thing because, like I said, especially at the beginning when she's not in there, I don't know, it took me out of it.
And to me, it's one of those things where it's always like we always talk about, get as much information as you can when you're shooting because you can't get it in post. So, to me, Yes, maybe Soderbergh thought it was very freeing that he could shoot on the iPhone, and maybe, you know, and you know, I haven't looked into the making of Unsane, but knowing Soderbergh, at his disposal, he could have had 20 iPhones that he just keeps swapping out while they're dumping footage and all that. That's a whole nother section to talk about in terms of media management, but it's like, why not shoot in 4K on a really good camera? And if you want to make it look like an iPhone in post, you can easily do that.
Yeah, kind of like Cloverfield.
Yeah, like, you know,
They made that look like a found footage movie on like a little handycam, but in fact, it was shot on a regular cinema camera.
You shoot on, you know, what do we say? 2.8K is usually what the human eye can see, and that's like the best that they'll display in a theater right now.
Something like that, 2K.
Yeah. So it's like you shoot on 4K, you can punch in and do your weird framing in post. Mm-hmm. Hell, you can do it on set if you want to, but in terms of lenses and color and depth of field and just the wide range of ability you have with a more prosumer, even, I mean, you know, prosumer to professional camera.
Yeah.
You can get so much out of it and then do what you want in post. And, you know, Soderbergh's great at post. We saw that in Traffic. Like he uses post to his advantage. So I don't know why, you know, for someone who has a budget at his disposal that would warrant something like a bigger camera, a more professional camera, I don't know why he wouldn't use it. Like, if it's something like Tangerine, which had a budget of $100,000,
Yeah.
which, by the way, it was produced by the Duplass brothers.
Oh.
Mark Duplass actually approached the director-writer about writing something. So,
Wow.
Yeah. But, like, something like that, $100,000 budget, kind of like, you know, and that's definitely the Duplass brothers style, is like very indie, low-budge, experimental. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, for something like Unsane, which, I mean, let's see. I'm going to look it up real quick.
The budget was over $1 million. It was like
$1.5 million.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, again, you know, he made $12.3 million on it in the box office, so good for him, and made its money back in spades. But, like, Steven Soderbergh probably has a camera at home that he could use that is better than the iPhone.
Yeah, but again, I think it all comes down to the idea of whether it works for the material.
True.
And so I'm down to use whatever.
No, that's true.
Whatever
Yeah.
camera, as long as it serves the whole story and you come out with a movie that the audience is able to immerse themselves in fully and sort of suspend disbelief or whatever for the entire film.
And I am always up for taking on new challenges when it comes to filmmaking, but if you don't need to, you know, it's like one of those things where it's like, make it easier on everything. I mean, and again, we're talking about Steven Soderbergh. The dude can do whatever he wants. I mean,
Totally. And again, maybe it was easier for him. That's why he
Sure.
did it.
That's true.
He probably, again, he said that it was like a really liberating experience and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
And, you know, I totally get it from a one-off perspective. Like, he wanted to try it. He did it. But the fact that he goes on to say that he wants to make all movies from now on iPhones is a little bit much, I think. I'm just guessing he's getting some Apple executives trailing behind him, stuffing change in his pockets. As
change. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. He said that during the press tour for Unsane, so he could also be saying that just so that people would be like, I don't want to see this movie on an iPhone. Like, if he's going to go out there and say, hey, I'll shoot everything on an iPhone because this is how great it was, then it's going to get people the box office. And obviously it did.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's no doubt that it had at least a tiny bit of just being a publicity thing to it.
Yeah, and we'll see what he shoots on his next movie. It'll be very funny to see if he shoots on the iPhone, because he said that he wants to shoot on it for everything, but nothing but love and respect for Steven Soderbergh.
Yep.
Pouring one out. Like, he's not dead. Never mind. Sorry.
No.
So let's talk about like the technical aspects of using your phone, like a form factor and like accessories you're going to need.
Well, let's also, I think before we get into that, talk about why someone who's listening might want to shoot on the iPhone.
Fine.
You know, because we just spent maybe like, I don't know, what was that?
10, 15 minutes.
10 hours talking trash
Sounded like 10 hours.
about Soderbergh.
Yeah.
But I think there are plenty of reasons why one might want to. You know, obviously, if you don't have anything else, that's a great reason. If you are...
It's a great way to practice shots. It's a great way to
practice.
We talk about it all the time. Practice, practice, practice. It's a great way. If you have a phone that has 4K capabilities, it may not be professional 4K, but you can go out and shoot something and then download it to your computer and edit something together without having to buy any other equipment.
Yeah, and ultimately, the techniques that you're going to use are the same no matter what the camera is. So as long as you're practicing proper techniques when it comes to like composition, lighting, editing, all that kind of stuff, you're going to make good projects. And I think one thing I always thought would be, useful would be for actors. Because I know actors out there, if you've ever been an actor or if you are an actor, it's kind of a big struggle to be in the industry because you're just like sitting around waiting for people to come up and tap you on the shoulder and be like, be in my thing.
Yeah.
But you have all this stuff that you want to get out and you're like creative and you want to put it on video and stuff and you have all these friends that are actors and maybe some of them have aspirations to be filmmakers and whatnot. And it's like, but you don't have a ton of money to throw into a project. So like, why not just grab your phone and shoot something? I think that's a great idea. Especially for like a short or a web series or anything like that.
Hell, again, it could be a feature. I mean, every time, the new wave of smaller, cheaper filmmaking technology comes out, you always go back to the the era. I mean, you could say 10 years before. I'm thinking of like something like Sound of My Voice. They shot that whole thing on the 5D, and I kind of feel that the iPhone, the mobile phone shooting is the new 5D. You're able to steal some shots in places because it looks like you're just taking a shot for your own personal library.
Yeah.
You're able to get friends together and shoot wherever you want and put out something that's pretty decent. I mean, anyone who saw Sound of My Voice, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Really good. And they shot it on the 5D, and it looks great. It looks fine. And it was a little grainier and all that. It wasn't as crisp as everything else, but it lent itself, like you said, to that movie.
Yeah,
and
that's a great no-budget one.
Yeah.
If you want some homework for the weekend, check out Sound of My Voice.
And Another Earth, which uses a little more VFX, but just for a couple shots. But yeah, I mean, this is the new... The iPhones and the Samsung Galaxies are the new 5D. They're changing things and changing accessibility to filmmaking. And again, I don't want to knock using an iPhone at all. I mean, I'm just saying from my own perspective, since we do have access to cameras, I would use the camera. But it's a great tool to get out there and start making films.
Yeah, to me, it's the analogy could be like, okay, you have two options: a screwdriver. You're trying to like, trying to screw in a screw. You have a screwdriver.
I thought you meant vodka orange juice. Yeah. Okay,
you
go
have a
on.
screwdriver, or you have, I don't know, like a flattened ice pick, right? It's like one of them is built to do the task that you're trying to do. The other one, you have to kind of make it work. You know what I'm saying?
On next week on cinemasummit.com, you'll see a video of Alex trying to unscrew a screw with an ice pick.
With a flattened ice pick.
Yeah, we'll see how well that goes.
I'm going to send it through one of those penny flattening machines.
It'll be too big for the screw.
Try to get a flat edge.
Yeah. Wow, you brought back the old school tourist penny flattening machine.
Been there, done that.
Wow, Lord knows I have to.
We've all been there when we've tried to unscrew something and haven't had the right tool.
It's like, oh man, let me go in the garage and just get my penny flattening machine and straighten this thing all out.
Hold on. Hold the production. I have to go to the county fair. I'll be back.
I have to go to Mount Rushmore and get my penny flattened. No, I get that. I mean, I don't want, like, again, we are just here to encourage people to make movies, to encourage people to make something creative, because it just gets your juices flowing and gets you used to, gets you in the game. Once you start making stuff, you're just going to want to make more and more stuff. So make it any way you can.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with shooting on a mobile phone. It just creates its own challenges. I don't even want to say problems. They're just challenges.
Yeah, and there's challenges with everything. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, we've talked about in the past of like using big cameras and all the stuff that you have to put on. Then you have to get an easy rig to hold it, and then you have to have a assistant camera person to pull it off your shoulder when you're not doing anything. And it's just everything has its own challenges. They're different than the other thing, but it doesn't mean they're better or worse.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about the form factor now that we've just had that little spiel about how to get the most out of your phone if you're shooting with it.
It's funny because I think because of the things like Tangerine and Unsane and Apple really pushing for their like the photo and video qualities of their new iPhones, there's a lot of accessories that are coming out that are accessible to the iPhone. I mean, you have the we have the DJI Osmo, which is a kind of handheld gimbal based camera, But there's companies out there that make the same kind of gimbal technology just for an iPhone because they know that people.
DJI makes one.
DJI makes one, and there's a bunch of other companies that do where it fits your iPhone and it's a stabilizer, and you can just move your hand around, and the phone stays still.
Mm-hmm. It's very smooth. You get those cool tracking shots or whatever, and it's a little bit more, it's fluid than trying to run around with just it in your hand.
And you know what? If you could have fluid motion in your mobile phone video or mobile phone film, it makes it look 10 times better.
Yeah.
And so companies are starting to jump on board, especially accessory companies, on building things to use with your mobile phone for filming.
And I also think this is true of any camera, but when you have smaller cameras, whether it's like an A7S or like any kind of DSLR point and shoot camera or a phone, you want to try, in my opinion, if you're going for a cinematic look, to give it the presence of a cinema camera. So it's like put it on your shoulder on a shoulder rig, even if it's just a tiny little phone.
Yeah.
It seems weird, but like the movement you have by moving your entire torso with the thing on your shoulder is very different than moving just like your wrists to get, you'll get like a snappier turn with your wrists. Whereas if you rotate from your hips with like a shoulder rig, you'll get a much more fluid kind of cinematic pan.
Yeah. And it'll look better, and it will not seem so much like an iPhone or not seem so much like a mobile phone.
Yeah.
And it helps out a lot. I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean, we still get the people who shoot vertical and just everyone yells at them. But I mean, if you look at the form factor of a phone, it's a lot like a monitor, a small monitor that people put, attach on their rigs for the camera. And now this one just has a lens on it. So you may not get used to the fact that you're holding up a square camera lens or something like that, but you'll get used to looking at the world through a monitor or something like that. I mean, there's even some cameras that just connect to your phone and use your phone as a monitor. And so the form factor may be weird if you're holding it in your hand and then moving to a camera. But like Alex said, if you're able to get a rig, it doesn't matter what camera's on there. You're still feeling what it's like to hold the rig.
Yeah. And you don't necessarily have to go out and buy a rig.
No.
But even if you just like mount it somehow to PVC pipe that you're holding, just to get that like camera body type of feel to it. But also there's a company called Joby that makes these GorillaPod things.
Loved GorillaPods.
They make a mobile phone mount for their GorillaPods. And I imagine you could get one of those and use that almost as like a makeshift shoulder mount too. If you use the little legs as handles and stick one out to your chest or something. And use 3 points of stabilization, as they say.
Yeah.
Get like a little makeshift shoulder mount or something going on with that. And then also you would have it, the ability to mount it to a tripod, which is its own thing that I would definitely recommend having the option at least to stick it on a tripod and get some static or panning shots.
You'll see such improved cinematography from just stabilizing it really. Just not holding it in your hand, but putting it on a stand, putting it on a shoulder mount, putting it on a tripod. It will improve things dramatically. And you could literally look on YouTube for hours on how people are building stands and mounts and stabilization rigs out of things they can get at Home Depot for $20 for mobile phones. I mean, there's people who build kind of look like a hexagonal stop sign out of PVC piping that your phone attaches in the middle, and it just allows you to walk and kind of stabilize things and kind of...
It's like a big steering wheel.
Exactly, and the phone fits in there perfectly. You can find the instructions on YouTube how to make that, and you're off to the races.
What was that called? The original Fig Rig.
That's Fig what it was. Rig, yep, there it is. Nailed it.
All right, so, I mean, all those things, and then obviously if you have the ability to slide it around on a slider or a dolly, these types of things help. Again, it doesn't matter what the camera is. All these things help make it more cinematic just in general.
Yeah, movement always helps make anything more cinematic no matter what the camera is.
But you got to remember to motivate the movement. It's always nice.
Yep.
All right, should we move on to settings and stuff?
Yeah, so, I mean, settings, again... I'm going to talk from the point of view of someone who doesn't use apps on their phone to get more cinematic look out of it. But I know on my Galaxy S7, haha, old school, kind of maybe. I can go into pro mode and I can set shutter speed, aperture, white balance, ISO. I can do all that in my phone, and while it may be just built in, and while it may be more of a digital thing, you know, the aperture doesn't really close the aperture or open the aperture. It's more of a setting and all stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just, like Alex said, like you use that on your phone if you're practicing on your iPhone or you're practicing on your Galaxy, and then you go get a camera later down the road and you know all those settings and how they work and how they interact with each other.
Yeah, that's very true. I think I used to always say that a DSLR was one of the best ways to learn how to operate a camera, a cinema camera, because all the settings are basically the same. But it's kind of true that the settings are the same in a phone as well. You won't necessarily get the same experience of, like you said, closing an aperture on a lens and focusing with like a follow focus and stuff like that. But the idea of the relationship between shutter speed, ISO, and aperture, you can totally get that going. Yeah, which is kind of cool. Yep. I just found out there's been an app that people always use for these things on the iPhone called Filmic Pro.
Well, we don't have iPhones, so that's probably why we didn't know about them.
Well, I always knew about it, but we could never get it.
Never mind.
You know? Could never get it because I never had an iPhone. But I just realized that they released one for the Android.
What? Finally. Every Android gets just shafted. They're always like late to the party for some reason. Developers go iPhone first, and it's like, there's more Android users than iPhone. I'm representing Android.
That's the sound of the police trying to arrest us for not having iPhones.
Yeah, there you go. The iPhone police. Apple is taking over the United States. Police. Oh, man. The whole thing is just covered in denim and tweed.
Yep. But so I downloaded the app.
Okay.
To try to mess around with it. It's kind of interesting. So you have the opportunity to use different settings that aren't built in to your pro mode of your phone. Okay. For example, it'll automatically crop the video to a certain aspect ratio. So if you want to do one of those widescreen sort of anamorphic or cinemascope style aspect ratios, you can do that. It'll show you in the monitor what the frame is. Oh my gosh, they're still coming for me.
Man, they aren't messing around. Is there literally a fire right next door?
I know. We're going to have to evacuate any moment now. Yep. But don't worry, we have our phones and we'll shoot it.
Hey.
But yeah, so in the monitor, it has the lines so you can see where the crop's going to be. But in the actual finished project, it will actually export out a video file that is already cropped to that size.
That's what I was going to ask. That was my next question is, as a post guy, is it just letterboxed into it, or is it actually that dimension?
It's actually that dimension.
Woo, that's hot. That's hot lava.
And inside the app, you can select frame rates, which, like I said, I wasn't able to do that on my phone, so I was stuck at 30 or 60 even. I don't even know what it is. But you can select all sorts of stuff. You can even do the slow motion. You can do 24, 25 if you're in the UK or whatever. So that's interesting. It also, a huge plus is it has false colors.
Ooh, that is huge. Ooh. That is huge.
There it is right there. I mean, that does it.
Wow.
False colors would help you set your exposure, get proper exposure for your for your shots, which is great. It also has zebra if you're into that kind of thing.
That's your kind of style.
If that's your style, you can do the zebras.
Is this the app you were playing with on set the other day?
Yeah.
That's how you're playing with. Oh, okay, okay, gotcha.
And so it has all those types of things, which is really cool. It also has meters for the audio.
Oh, wow.
Which is nice.
This is super nice. I'm liking this. I'm going to have to download this.
You can get waveform, RGB parade, I think, histogram, all those scopes and whatnot which again, just great practice if you're getting ready to go out on a shoot and you're like, oh man, I want to make sure everything is exposed properly. And I know the camera that I have only has a built-in histogram. If you don't know how to use it and you're used to false colors or something else and you show up and your camera only has a histogram, it's happened to me.
Way to go, Filmic Pro.
Yeah, got to know how to use that stuff.
That is awesome. I mean, Man, that sounds really cool. I mean, how much, do you know how much that app is?
$14.
I mean, that is a lifesaver. If one, you're actually going to shoot a feature or a short on your phone, or even if you're just going to practice. I mean, you have a phone already. It probably has a decent camera, and all you have to do is spend $15 instead of buying a DSLR. And you're off to the races, and you can learn pretty much everything you would need to know on set. If you're, put in front of a red, we've said before, the menu might be different, but all the information is there in Filmic Pro. That sounds awesome.
Very cool. And also, they have focus peaking and a weird little thumb action focus pulling device.
What?
So you can actually do some rack focuses. I was messing around with that, and it actually works pretty well. I was
That's
pretty
awesome.
surprised.
I mean, the focus meters on the cameras that we use at Larry aren't even that good.
I know the peaking sucks at Larry,
Oh.
but this one, it worked pretty good.
For a phone, hey.
For a phone, hey, yeah, why not? So yeah, I mean, I would say definitely if you're going to shoot something like a short film or a digital series, you might want to go that direction and get the app.
All right. All right.
Also, they have. I didn't really explore into it that much, but I think they have the option to shoot in like a log.
No way.
Yeah.
Would it be F log or FP log?
I don't know what it is, but it's definitely, even just straight out without messing with the settings, it's a lot more desaturated and kind of flat.
Wow. Impressive. Way to go, Filmic Pro. I'm going to have to download that.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Give it a
kind
go,
of cool.
play
I was
around with
messing around with it.
Not bad.
Lots of options that I didn't even touch the surface of yet, but definitely something to check out.
Nice.
We will put that link in the show notes.
Yay. Have we done show notes yet?
We're gonna.
We're gonna, guys. We promise. We like, as you can tell from what's new, we're super busy.
Yeah.
Super busy.
All right, so we should talk about accessories because one of the biggest problems with shooting on a phone, in my opinion, is you either have to shoot at the same really weirdly wide focal length or digital zoom without the added accessories of external lenses and stuff that they make for phones. So I would say I haven't had the opportunity to test any of them out, but I imagine having a physical lens to create like a telephoto or different focal lengths is probably better than just zooming in and trying to do it that way.
Yeah, it just depends like how that lens attaches over the lens in the camera. If you're getting that weird letterboxing and the kind of like warping on the edges, fisheye look, that kind of stuff.
Soft edges and stuff.
Soft edges. It depends. I've seen a lot of them. There's some that are, you kind of like have different lenses that you clip on. I actually got those. I bought a phone to go to India and it was like a free gift with it, and you could clip it on and, change your focal length and all that. But there are some that actually you can build a cage around your phone and actually screw on lenses.
Yeah, and I think Unsane used a little bit more legit lenses, and that company that they used, I can't remember what it was called, just released an anamorphic lens.
Get out of here.
For phones.
Get out of here. Anamorphic for phones?
And it looked pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I saw it and I was like, man, that looks pretty good. But it's only one, again, you're stuck with that one focal length, which is like kind of a deal breaker in my mind.
So I'm just looking it up right now. I'm just going to do this. They're called moment lenses.
Yeah.
And these are actually the kind that kind of clip on.
Oh, really? I thought they had a special case.
I don't know. I'm looking up moment lenses, and it seems like they just kind of clip on, but I could be wrong because I normally am. Let's see here. Shop moment. Let's check it out real quick. They're gonna listen to us typing.
They definitely have a case.
Yeah, they definitely have a case that they just kind of screw into. And he also, I guess, he used the phone's standard lens. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I get it. I feel that like if you are going to, if you're going to use your phone, just do something that invest a little bit in the lenses that would help it look much better. I mean, their anamorphic lens is only $120, which is a steal. Their fish eyes like $100. Their macros $90. I mean, it definitely pays off to do that, to get that better look if you're using your iPhone. That's not a crazy expensive price for some lenses.
Yeah, and I just looked it up. You do have to buy a special case for your phone, and they do have cases for phones other than iPhones. They have the Pixel, Galaxy S9, Note, and all that kind of stuff. So
okay, not bad. I mean, yeah, and
I imagine it's definitely worth it if you want to. If you're serious about making a project with your phone, you're going to get better results than just cropping in on your camera phone.
Yeah, I
sensor.
mean, I would definitely recommend that you get some of the accessories if you're going to stick with your phone. It's going to the accessories are going to add up to less than you would pay for a DSLR. And so if you're going to do it on the iPhone, might as well get some stuff that gives you a little more cinematic look, gives you a little more freedom to kind of, do what you want. But yeah, I mean, they're building more and more accessories to make the iPhone and the Galaxy legitimate contenders for cameras for movies.
Yeah, and much like a normal project, you wouldn't necessarily want to use just built-in on-camera audio, and so I wouldn't necessarily rely on the camera audio from your phone to shoot a project. But an interesting little side note here is I know that they make lavs for your phone. So you could have the actors literally recording their own audio onto their own phone that's in their pocket, and having it run to a lav that you stick under their clothing or whatever.
Well, what was that thing that Luca used?
That was, I think it was a Rode microphone that's specifically for mobile phones.
Okay, was it a lav?
Yeah, we didn't actually end up using it, but he brought it just in case as a backup.
I know because Rode, for those who don't know, they make some pretty good shotgun mics, but they also do make shotgun mics for like smaller cameras, like an iPhone and all that. One's called the Video Mic ME and a Video Micro, and those look like little shotgun mics that mount onto your phone and kind of plug into the headphone jack. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right now. It's called the Rode Smart Lav Plus lavalier condenser microphone for smartphones, and it's only $65. Not bad. I mean,
not bad. I mean, everyone has a phone that could plug into and give you better audio quality. You could basically just have everybody who's on set recording their own audio, and then you have a camera that is recording the video, and you're good to go.
Sync it up. The inherent problem here is that you're not able to monitor the audio, so you don't know for sure that you're actually capturing it. Or that you're not peaking or anything like that when they're getting super excited or whatever. Or that it's not too low and that you're able to, you just got to make sure that the settings are right.
Now, what if we throw this out there? Somebody who's out there listening knows how to make an app, and all they'd have to do is credit us and give us 75% profits. What if you could do some way, how you can kind of sync up your phones? You could sync up. I mean, for the biggest thing in Galaxies for the longest time is you could bump the back of the phone and transfer.
Ew, gross.
Yeah, I know. Good thing they were in cases for protection. But like, what if there was an app out there, somebody wants to design this, where you could kind of link up your phone and you don't have to hear like the quality of it because you don't want to be sending that over, but just kind of monitor audio on a single, iPhone.
Yeah, so I know the Zoom F8 has the ability for you to actually control the levels and stuff from your phone.
Yeah.
So I imagine you'd be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if not that they should go out and buy a Zoom, but if there was an app that would let you kind of connect to another app via Bluetooth or something else, another phone with the same app, and then so you have this one phone that is then getting 3 signals in just to monitor it, just to make sure you're not peaking.
Monitor and like adjust the levels if it happens to be peaking or whatever.
I mean, that'd be insane. And then slowly
that'd be pretty bomb.com actually.
Yeah.
We should start that app.
All right.
And take 100%.
We're going to call it Cinema Summit Presents a Trevor and Alex app.
It's just going to take you to the menu for Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, guys. So let me, Steve, can you talk for me? Okay, that sounds like a Parmesan garlic. And Stephanie, can you talk for me too? Okay, a honey ginger. Yeah. So let's go with this. Wow, we went off on a tangent there, but Yeah, so
It's not too far off.
we're in the development stage of this app. If you want to get it on the ground floor, just send a self-addressed stamp envelope to Trevor and Alex at cinemasummit.com.
That's all you have to do.
Yep.
Send a self-addressed stamped envelope.
Yep, no
That's
money
it.
in there or anything.
Nothing else.
I'm just remembering.
Just an empty envelope.
Yep, self-addressed.
It just gets
So we can
back to
send you
them
the app back on an SD card.
in the mail.
Yeah. So let's move on to the other side of the post side of shooting on a mobile phone, and that is kind of media management. So one good thing about cameras these days is that they have removable media, SD cards, CF cards. The Codex has their removable cards.
Yep. S by S, you got
S by
P2,
S. I mean, you
all
could go,
that stuff.
yeah, you could go on forever. And what makes that nice is that you can pull that medium out, you can pull that card out, transfer it while you're shooting on another card.
Yep.
Problem is,
Big
not
bonus.
many phones have removable media these days.
Yeah. Some of them do.
Some of them do. I know the iPhone really doesn't like doing.
They don't do that
at all.
Mine does.
Mine does too.
Yeah.
So if you're using a Galaxy, you can pop a card out and put a new card in, but
It's still not like super convenient to pop the card out.
You have to have
need
like
that
a
little
special
tool.
yeah, the key or a paper clip or.
Yeah.
Now, again, going back to Unsane, Steven Soderbergh had 3 iPhones. So he could shoot on one, give it to somebody that could dump the footage while he's shooting on the next one. And then while the first one was not being done yet, he goes to the third one and then he's always able to shoot. But for those people who don't have 5 to 3 phones at their disposal, media management becomes a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, and so for the Jewel stuff that I shot, I actually just uploaded it to Dropbox from my phone instead of connecting my phone and dumping it or pulling the card out or anything like that. And that worked okay. I mean, I didn't have a ton of footage.
That's the thing. Like if you just have a little bit of day footage of like some B-roll, not that big of a deal. And especially if you're not editing it that day. But can you imagine if you had like I could put a 128 card in my phone.
Yeah.
Can you imagine popping that out and uploading that when it's like, okay, we got to keep rolling?
Yeah.
Pain.
Definite pain, but doable.
Definitely doable. And if you're doing a low budget indie or a low budget short, you could take the time off and give everyone a little 15-minute break.
Yeah. I also think you could potentially just sort of schedule a little bit differently. Maybe you don't wait until the card's full 128 gigs to dump it, and you do it every 50 gigs or something. Whenever you're like changing setups real quick.
When it's a company move something, or if you're, you have to relight and stuff like that, just take the opportunity to dump the footage. And that may, it still may slow you down a little bit. And that is one problem of working with, phones. But it may be a solution.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think, in terms of the file sizes, they're really not too bad because, again, these are really, really compressed. Even when you're shooting 4K, it's so much more compressed than what you would get from a professional cinema camera. So the file sizes aren't too bad. I don't know. I wonder how many 128 gigabyte cards you would need in a day. Probably just one.
Well, I don't know, because you shot on, I would say.
I was messing around with that Filmic Pro app, and about 15 seconds of footage was about 60 to 100 megabytes.
Okay.
For 15 seconds.
Okay, so the question is, you shot that Jewel stuff on 1080p on the that little Canon vloggy thing.
Yes.
And they shot for how much in the day, do we know? I mean, they shot for hours.
Well, I had a 120 gigabyte card in there, and it had enough room for 17 hours. 17
hours. Okay, so that's 1080. So you want to say 4 times the file size just to be safe, even though it's going to be even more compressed. So you're close to 4 hours of actual footage.
It's not bad.
Which is not bad. I mean, that's close to a day of footage.
You also have to consider, you have to make sure that your phone isn't running apps off the SD card.
That's true. I mean, I would say if you are going to be using your phone and you have the ability to put an SD card, put in a clean one for the filming.
Definitely.
I mean, on the iPhone, you're just kind of, if that's your phone, hopefully you don't have too many pictures and too many apps on there, because that is that is it.
Yep.
You can't really do much with the iPhone in terms of expanding the storage.
Yep, definitely.
Granted, they're probably going to come out with some like external hard drive that you can connect to the Lightning port, and it will record on that. And of course, as they move, since Soderbergh said the iPhone's great, they'll come out with it.
Yeah, you're going to end up having to like buy an external monitor that is a recorder that you plug into the Thunderbolt port with like a special adapter, the Lightning port or whatever.
Adamus, please send a self-addressed stamp to Cinema Summit to buy this idea from us while you're making this, or Small HD, whoever wants to buy this idea from us. We are geniuses. Remember, self-addressed stamp to Alex and Trevor at cinemasummit.com.
Yep, and we'll send you a prototype of our monitor that records ProRes RAW.
Yep.
From an iPhone.
It just the ProRes RAWs will actually come up in a firmware update. I'm actually just going to send you my Galaxy 7S. S7, I should say, as I'm getting a new phone.
Exactly. Same with me. I was going to send them a sandwich. Just while they wait. Please enjoy the sandwich.
Food tonight. Are you hungry?
I'm still hungry.
Buffalo Wild Wings and a sandwich. Wow.
Hey,
that's a great combination. You know they serve sandwiches at Buffalo Wild Wings.
My God.
I know. So yeah, I mean, get 3 iPhones, you're good to go. But if not, then you just kind of have to plan around how much footage you can shoot in a day. And you know, if it's a low budget feature where you're using an iPhone, it might be fine having a 4-hour shoot day because everyone, that's all you can get the people for. So it's not going to hurt you too much.
And really, again, I've said this a lot, but these are all problems that you still deal with other cameras. I mean, like our camera that we shoot with, we only have 2 cards. So if we roll out of those 2 cards, we still have to take a break and dump it all. You know, it's like that's a problem. And unless you get an extra cards and stuff like that.
P2 cards are expensive, so it's not necessary that we get 2 more cards just because we'll take the time and dump the footage, and it is what it is.
Yep. All right. So shall we move on to what's cool?
Well, you had mentioned, you put a little note in there about focus pulling. Is that just about Filmic Pro? Is that just about Filmic Pro?
Yeah.
Do you know if there's something out there that is like...
No, I was going to say that, like with your app or whatever, like what's built in, the Pro mode, there's really, there is also a slider that you can do to put it in manual focus and whatnot. It's rough. I mean, even on Filmic Pro, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not great.
And it's not super responsive, so if you're trying to focus pull and you're trying to hit a mark at a certain time, you got to plan that thing out.
I was trying to use the focus during my Jewel shoot, and what I found is that just getting to the point where you're actually adjusting the focus with the little slider is difficult because you have to like hit the button and then it has to register that you're trying to like hit the focus and not like click out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just kind of clunky. I don't know, I didn't love it.
Yeah.
I think, again, it's not a tool that's meant for cinema, so you have to deal with these kind of like weird, funky workarounds. The Filmic Pro app definitely is a huge step up from the built-in.
Sweet.
So there's that. You can also ramp exposure, which is interesting. So if you're like going in from outside to inside or something like that, you could ramp it. It also makes zooming quite a bit nicer.
Nice.
Instead of doing the pinch zoom,
Yeah.
it has a little toggle that you can do, and it has kind of like a nice curve to it.
Sounds like you're all on board for Filmic Pro.
I am, and I've tried other apps just to mess around, and they're not great. Filmic Pro, I think, is probably the best one I've tried, and it's a little clunky and weird.
But it'll do a lot more than your normal phone, just basic pre-installed apps will do.
Definitely.
So yeah, I guess we can move on to what's cool. I think we kind of ran an iPhone and a Galaxy through the coals and told you, it's pretty easy. If you want to know what our overall theory about filmmaking is just film it, no matter how you do it, and you'll be better off for it, and you'll have challenges along the way depending on what you use, no matter what you use, and just practice and do it.
Exactly.
Just go out there and make something.
Exactly.
Okay, now then, I'm off my soapbox. What's cool? What's cool that you've seen?
All right. Well, this is something that I've used quite a bit for the website and for a lot of other things.
Okay.
But I wanted to let people know about Unsplash if they're not familiar.
Awesome. Love Unsplash.
Unsplash.com. is a website for Creative Commons photographs that you can just download and use for your projects or on your website or whatever. You can give credit to the photographer, but it's not even required that you do. But what I think is really cool about it is, first of all, the photos are generally like really good.
Yeah, they're high quality. Most of our blog banner photos, our blog posts, the banner photo at the top is from Unsplash.
Definitely. And I think it could be useful, and I've used it myself for like different pitch packets, projects like that, or like mood boards and stuff. If you're like trying to come up with a mood board for a project, you could easily just kind of like search for different photos and throw them in there and add them to a pitch or something.
And it's also easy to collaborate because you can do boards. So you could put together a bunch of photos and
like
then just
favorite them and stuff.
And send me the board and I can check it out and be like, yeah, this looks good or not. It's not rather than sending individual links to photos.
Yep. Which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. So, if you have followed this podcast, you know we are big fans of DJI. We have the Osmo. Love their drones. Love a lot of the stuff that they do. And so they just announced and showed off the plans for their new headquarters in China. And what makes this so cool is that they're going to have a couple rooms that are quadruple stories high, so 4-story high rooms, as well as a sky bridge to show off new drones. So you'll be able to fly a drone in there, test it out, that kind of stuff, and then also be able to show the drones to the press and all that as they're announcing it. Cool. Drones are big business. DJI is one of the biggest drone makers out there. They're Mavic Pro and stuff like that. Is it the Mavic Pro? Is that it? Mavic?
Yep. That's one of them. And then they have the Phantom.
And then they have the Phantom.
And then the Inspire.
Yep. And so
then I'm sure a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, they're gonna be hitting it with drones so much in the near future. That is kind of their bread and butter. So yeah, it's kind of cool. They just have these giant rooms in their new headquarters that they're building, and a sky bridge so they can show off their new drones. You can fly it around indoors and just have a little fun with it.
Pretty cool. All I got to do is buy a ticket to China.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's all go. Field trip for the podcast.
Let's do it.
Yay.
Another thing that I found that I thought was pretty cool is, and I just heard about it, is Adobe's Project Rush.
Yes.
Have you heard about this, Trevor?
I have. I love it.
It's kind of cool. I mean, the way I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong here, is it's basically a collaborative editing tool for like mobile tablets and stuff like that, where you could take your footage, maybe even like as you're shooting it on set, and start doing a rough edit if you wanted to, or if you're maybe shooting things like YouTube videos or vlogs and stuff like that, it's just kind of maybe an easier way to edit than shuffling it through Adobe Premiere and After Effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it is basically, to sum it up, it's Premiere in your pocket.
Yeah. And they tried that once before. I mean, didn't they have apps, like mobile apps for Premiere and
Yeah,
Photoshop?
they tried that whole thing, and I think what they did is they needed to do new architecture for their apps.
Because they were just trying to stick the old, like Premiere and its workflow and everything into a mobile phone. But this is kind of its own thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is its own standalone. I want to say that they built this from the ground up with mobile in mind rather than taking Premiere and putting it into mobile. They just built this in the idea of like a lot of people are shooting on their phones now. People are, YouTube, it used to be Vine, Snapchat, all these video services out there, Facebook Watch, that kind of stuff. And they just wanted to give people the opportunity to edit without having to download footage and spend a lot of money on Premiere and stuff like that.
Nice.
So, big fan of it. It'll be interesting.
I think you can sign up if you go to the link that we're going to provide in the show notes. I think you can sign up to be a part of the beta testing group right now.
Yeah. So give it a go. See what you think. Be wary. A lot of Adobe stuff gets buggy in the first couple of releases, but they always tend to kind of patch it up and make it better. And so I'm excited to see where it goes. As phones get more and more powerful, and I wouldn't be surprised if you could do some really powerful editing just right on your phone.
Mm-hmm. And definitely on some of those crazy tablet computers they have coming out these days.
I know, the Surface and stuff like that. They'll be able to slice through certain 1080p edits like butter, baby.
Yes, indeed.
So another thing that I like coming out is the Capsule 360. Thought this was really cool. Alex showed this to me the other day. It's in Kickstarter phase now, but they raised, like most Kickstarters that are cool, I think 4 or 5 times of their goal. And what it is it's this kind of like modular access,
it's like a motion control unit.
Yeah, motion control unit. And what it is it has these little like they almost look like hockey pucks.
Yeah.
And you stack them, and each one can be a different use, but it's you buy one for a tilt, you buy one for a panning, and you buy one for a slider. And it's these little hockey pucks. You kind of attach them to each other, and it's all through your phone. But you could do motion time lapse. It's a really cool feature that I like with the app. And these pucks, I guess we'll go with, or capsules, which is why it's Capsule 360, is face tracking. So you can set your phone on the tilt and the pan, and then it will recognize your face, and as you're moving, it will track it and keep it in focus. And so it's kind of for one of those one-man bands that if you're doing like a vlog or you're doing some tutorial videos and you have nobody to film you, you kind of walk around, not too far, but you can kind of walk around in your space, and it will follow you and keep you in focus, and kind of be your cinematographer and your camera guy without you needing anybody else.
What I thought was really interesting about that, or what I was wondering about that when I first saw it was, yeah, that's cool if you're shooting on your phone, but how do you get the camera to recognize, like if you're shooting on a DSLR, how do you get the camera to recognize your face? But I realize what you do is you mount the phone to your camera.
Yeah.
And then it will recognize the face and it will frame your camera accordingly.
Well, also remember, new cameras are coming out that have phone, connections and all that. And so what you can do is that you can actually, I wouldn't be surprised if down the line what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to use your phone as another viewfinder or a monitor for your camera, and so it'll just using the technology in the app will tell the pucks what to do, knowing what your camera's looking at. I wouldn't be surprised at all, because we're gonna get some GH5S's in a little bit here, hopefully. And what can you do on your phone with those GH5s?
Well, Panasonic has its own special app that you can download,
Okay.
and you can view the monitor from your phone. You
There you
can
go.
hit record. You can adjust all the settings, like the ISO and the white balance and all that stuff. You can adjust and monitor basically what you're shooting.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you can see the monitor of the GH5 on your phone, that somehow Capsule 360, I forget the parent company's name, it's escaping me right now. They'll be able to work that in, that they use that connection to then track your face with their app. And so they also have a turntable kit, which you kind of put this turntable on this kind of like flat circular, looks like a vinyl record on top of one of the pucks, and it will spin accordingly, so you get every angle of a product that's sitting on there for product shots and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. It's modular. What I like about modular things like this is that, you can always upgrade it with other pucks or other accessories without having to buy a whole new unit. So it's kind of just adding on and building off of itself.
Yeah, and one of the places that I worked at for a while was shooting these unboxing videos and these toy videos and whatnot, and we we used Lazy Susans for our product videos, and we literally had to spin them with our hands until we bought one that was powered, but it only had one speed.
Yeah.
And it was rather slow, and it was very large.
And probably noisy.
And kind of noisy. So it wasn't ideal.
Gotcha.
For that. So this would have been perfect for that type of thing, because, you can adjust the speed.
Sweet.
All that kind of stuff.
Love it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
And what do we see on at least the Kickstarter? You can get the whole set that you need. What was he saying? Like $800?
I think it was $7.99 early bird.
Not bad.
Not including the little skateboard slider.
Parallax kind of thing.
It's like a little tabletop skater.
Yeah. So that's a great deal if you consider how much it costs for other motion control systems. Be able to do time lapse, motion time lapse. That's awesome. So go check it out. I think there's still time. You can, I don't know, by the time this podcast come out, the Kickstarter may be done, but watch out for Capsule 360. I think it's going to be pretty cool. If we get around to needing it, I would be interested in buying one.
Sure.
Yeah,
Me too. Let's see what else. Oh, yeah. Another thing that's cool, I think is cool, is kind of the current trend in horror movies these days. I know, it's super lame, but a lot of people have been talking about Hereditary. I haven't seen it yet. But
I cannot wait. I'm going to see it this weekend.
I cannot wait as well. But it's just, I'm so happy, really, about the way things are moving with this kind of like slower, kind of drama, thrillery, mystery horror that's coming out.
That's kind of what the
these days.
script me and Alex are writing is. So I'm very doubly excited because it means we're on the right path. But
Yeah,
I love
but
it.
I just love that kind of stuff.
They Come at Night was, it was billed as a horror movie, and a lot of people saw it and were like, well, I wouldn't consider that a horror movie. I would. I thought it was awesome, but it's the same idea. It's like, They Come at Night, a quiet place. It's not your traditional horror slasher scary monster movie, but it's still scary.
I Saw the Devil even would fall
I saw the
in there.
devil, yeah. I had a friend who said, it's kind of funny. I had one friend that went and saw Hereditary and said, it's not, don't read all the hype because it doesn't live up to the hype. It's the scariest movie in 20 years. And I had another friend who's a big horror nut who said, it was the best horror film that he saw since The Exorcist. So I was like, all right, I'm in. I'm totally in. I love this kind of stuff.
Me too. I'm really excited. I hope they continue to make more of these. I'm much more excited for movies like that than I am for all the big tentpoles that come out, even though I enjoy those as well.
Yeah. What's that other one that we saw where the twins were terrorizing their mother?
Tale of Two Sisters?
No.
That was an older one.
No. We saw this together over
Good Night Mommy.
Good Night Mommy. See, that's the kind of stuff. That was so creepy and so good. I love
the Foreigners, man, they know how to do it for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the original Let the Right One In, That movie was so good.
So good. And what's the other one? Eyes of My Mother? You saw that one. I didn't see that one.
That one was so good.
This creepy horror phase of it gets under your skin. I love it. I'm a big fan of it. Can't wait to see what more comes out. Hopefully we're part of it at some point because this is our jam. We love this kind of stuff.
Yep.
So I think, are we good to go?
I think that's it.
Is this long enough or too long?
It's just about right.
All right. Hey, I'll take that.
I think we hit it.
We didn't drone on too long and bore everyone else. So now it's going to take us another 6 months to get to 1,000 because we're,
No, they're going to take away downloads from us for this one.
Every downvote, you get one less download. Damn. So thanks so much for joining us for this episode. You can get the show notes for this episode by visiting nobudgetfilmmaking.com/episode 10. I swear to God, we're going to get those show notes up. We've just been super busy.
Well, they're there. The links and everything to all the what's cool and whatnot. It's all there.
But we
haven't really gotten into detail about the things that are inside the episode because hey, you know what? Listen to it.
Yeah, just listen to it and enjoy our sultry voices.
Yes. And don't forget to hop on over to iTunes and subscribe to our podcast. And while you're there, give us a 5-star rating if you feel so inclined.
Even you, Josh, who says that we breathe too heavy on this damn podcast.
Come on, Josh. Give us a 5-star. What are you doing over there?
I hate you. I'll see you at Christmas. And then also, if you have any filmmaking questions, ask away in the comments section, and we will try to answer them to the best of our knowledge. So ask away, ask away, ask away.
And like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Cinema Summit.
Thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you next time.
Later.